It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We go all the way back to January the 25th of the year 2024 when the Nashville Preds were in Minnesota to face off against the Wild. Head coach Andrew Burnett deployed his lines and defensive pairings in the following way: Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist, Novak, Glass, and Evangelista, Trennan, Sissons, and Gurionov, Smith, McCarron, and Sherwood, Yossi and Fabro, McDonough, and Shen, Luzon, and Carrier, your defensive pairings. The UC Saros gets the start in net. We are 49 seconds into the first period in Minnesota, and it's Gustafsson coming up with the first save of the game on Jeremy Luzon from a long distance. 1:10 of the first period. It's McCarron deflecting a puck into the net. Ruled no goal after a huddle-up conference. Synchronized huddling, if you will. If you saw the optic, you'll get the reference. The call was reviewed, and it was upheld, deemed to be no goal for a high stick. Still have questions about this one. It really looked like it might have been a good goal, but we move on. 1:37 of the first period. Now UC Saros comes with a save on Boldy. 2:53 of the first period. Saros comes with a save on Bogosian. 3:49 of the first period. It's Gustafsson back to work, coming with a save on Yakov. Trennan. 6:41. Gustafsson another save on Nyquist at the 8:39 mark of the first period. The teams are exchanging chances. UC Saros comes with a save on Freddie Gaudreau. Yes, that Freddie Gaudreau, the only Nashville Predator in franchise history to have a game-winning goal in a Stanley Cup final game. As a matter of fact, he's done it twice. Resuming the game recap, 9:25 of the first period. It's Gustafsson coming to the save on O'Reilly at the 10:40 mark of the first. It's Gustafsson, another save on Sisson. Gustafsson at 12:36, though. A save on O'Reilly, 13:47. Bogosian, under intense pressure of the Nashville Preds, picks up a 2-minute penalty. This is for roughing. Gustafsson would have to come up with one save on Alex Carey, but that would be it for the Nashville Preds power play. Minnesota PK doing a very strong job right here on the first special teams scenario of the game. 16:34 of the first period. UC Saros comes up with the save on Goligoski at 16:53. Saros a save on Kaprizov, and at the 19:08 mark of the first period, it's UC Saros coming up with one more save on Bogosian. The Nashville Preds would outshoot the Minnesota Wild in the first period, 11-6, but it would be the Wild, and it would be the Nashville Preds getting the only power play opportunity, unable to convert. We're on the clean sheet of the second period. We're 3:32 into the second, and it's UC Saros coming with a save on Foligno's backhand. Now we're at the 5:49 mark of the second period, and it's Glass off to the box. 2 minutes for tripping on Hartman. Maybe a little bit of a sell job right here, but he earned the power play for his Minnesota Wild team. That's right, former Nashville Preds are all over this game. UC Saros dials in for one of his strongest sequences of the game. He comes up with a save on Matt Zuccarello, who usually has very strong games against Nashville. President Saros comes with a save on Boldy. Then another save on Freddie Gaudreau. And then Saros comes up with not one, but two saves on Goligoski as he jams the net and follows it up for a secondary opportunity. UC Saros standing strong for 5 saves on this power play. At the 8:30 mark of the second period, Gustafsson comes up with a save on Tommy Novak at 9:07 of the second period. Gustafsson coming up with a save on Luke Shen's long shot. Then at 10:07, the middle point of the game, we see Alex Carey off the box. 2 minutes for holding, putting the Minnesota Wild back on the power play. It's UC Saros coming with a save on Faber. And then with just 10 seconds to go in the penalty kill, it is Ryan McDonough off to the box. 2 minutes for playing the puck over the glass. It was just the perfect setup for McDonough. He had the puck on his stick and plenty of room to dump it down the ice, and he just found the other side of the glass for the crowd. This creates a 5-on-3, but only for 10 seconds. The Preds are easily able to kill off that 10 seconds, but on the 5-on-4 that ensued after that, it was Eriksson Ek breaking through. 21st goal of the season was a deflection of Kaprizov's shot. That gives the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead. A first goal of the game goes to Eriksson Ek on the power play. 14:42 of the second period. It's UC Saros coming with a save on Middleton at the 14:44 mark of the second period. It's McCarron versus Middleton. 5 minutes each. The Nashville Preds definitely looking to change the energies. It did not take much much to get McCarron to engage in this fight. So they are each off to the box 5 minutes apiece. Less than 1 minute later, that was at 14:44. Now we are at 15:37. We see Smith picking up a penalty 2 minutes for elbowing, but he's also going to add 5 minutes to that, as Bogosian is going to pick up an instigator penalty and also add 5 to that. In total, each player 7 penalty minutes and no manpower on the ice affected. So 2 fights for the Nashville Predators in just under a minute's time here in the latter parts of the second period, trying to change the energy, trying to change the dynamic of this game. At the 17:37 mark of the second period, UC Saros coming in with a save on favor. At the 18:22 mark of the second, it's Kaprizov off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Gustafsson would have to come up with a save on Colton Sisson's backhand scoring opportunity, but that would be the only opportunity for the Predators on this power play to end the second period. Minnesota now out shooting Nashville 17-15. Remember, Minnesota only 6 shots on goal in the first period, now up to 17 shots on goal, many of those coming on that power play at the 5:49 mark. And the Minnesota Wild also picking up the only goal of the period, now leading 1-0 as we flip over to the back of the sheet and we start the third period. We are 1:11 into the third period. It's Gustafsson coming up with a save on Colton Sissons at the 1:21 mark of the third. It's UC Saros coming up with a save on Rossi's deflection. At the 1:44 mark of the third period, the Nashville Predators finally find a way to break through. It's Alex Carrier getting a small measure of revenge against the Minnesota Wild as Trennan makes a great pass across the zone. Carrier was all alone on the weak side, and he goes for the snipe top corner, getting the Nashville Predators on the board. Carrier's 4th goal of the season. We've got a fresh hockey game, 1:44 into the third period. We're tied at 1 apiece, but at 2:19 of the third period, it is Philip Forsberg, who has been in a drought and needed a goal in the worst way. He found a way to break free of the coverage just enough and deflect a Roman Josi shot into the back of the net. So 2:19 now of the third period. Forsberg's 23rd goal of the season gives the Nashville Predators a 2-1 lead. So trailing to start the third period, 2:19 into the period, now leading by 1, 2-1. At the 5:58 mark of the third period, it's Gustafsson coming up with the save on Shen. At the 7:19 mark, Guryanov hits the crossbar, had an opportunity perhaps to put this game away, could not do it right here though. At 8:55 of the third period, it's Gustafsson coming up with a save on Colton Sissons. At the 10:59 mark of the third period, it's UC Saros coming up with a save on Broden. At 11:34 of the third period, it's Captain Roman Josi coming up with his 10th goal of the season. It was a long shot that comically went off of the defense, actually got caught up in the jersey of the defense, and then fell and went into the net. So the Captain Roman Josi picks up his 10th goal of the season on a long shot, throwing it directly into the traffic and getting rewarded. The Predators now hold a 3-1 lead after starting the period down 1-0. At the 12:46 mark of the third period, it's Gustafsson coming with a big save on McDonough. At 13:24, Gustafsson keeping his team in it by coming with a save on Luke Evangelista. At 14:35, UC Saros back to work, coming up with a save on Brodin. At 14:41, it is Luzon off to the box. 2 minutes for tripping. Looked like he might have gotten the stick caught inside the blade, but that is considered tripping. The referee on top of it right here, and everybody just kind of looks up and says, what can happen here? UC Saros comes up with a save on Kaprizov, and then Boldy scores for Minnesota, 16th goal of the season. A really slick play as he just stepped to the middle of the ice, picked his spot, and ripped it. A really strong snipe by Boldy for his 16th goal of the season. That gives Minnesota 2 goals, but the Nashville Predators still have 3. We would hit the empty net scenario after Gustafsson comes up with a save on Sissons. The Nashville Predators would not be able to hit the empty net. The Minnesota Wild would not be able to generate any further pressure on the Nashville Predators with the extra attacker, and the final seconds would come to their expiration at a very, very slow rate over those final 5 seconds. The Nashville Predators would secure the victory 3-2 in this game in Minnesota, and they would outshoot the Wild 28-24. There is no doubt about it that UC Saros kept the Nashville Predators in this game game through the first half of the game, especially that sequence on the power play with 5:49 in the second period, coming up with 5 saves right there. I thought that UC Saros had a really strong bounce back game. He was really good in the third period when he needed to be as well. Not the heaviest of workload, 22 out of 24 for UC Saros in this game. For the Nashville Predators, a really good, strong come from behind win. The Minnesota Wild are a 7th place team, and they're not a great team, but they have been playing good as of late, and that was a good win for the Preds, coming back from down 1-0, scoring 3 times in the third period and then hanging on to win there at the end. That's going to do it for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We'll be back with more analysis, box score, and the rest right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.